The desert stretched endlessly beneath a sky torn apart by storms that had no natural origin. Lightning struck the sands with unnatural colors, violet, crimson, and silver, leaving behind cracks that glowed faintly, as though the earth itself bled light. A wanderer trudged forward, his steps heavy, drawn not by choice, but by an invisible pull he could not resist. Whispers rode the hot wind, words too old to belong to man, repeating fragments of a prophecy about a tower that bound all existence together. In the distance, mirages twisted into visions of doors, roads, and shadowed figures. He felt the world trembling under his feet, the fabric of reality thinning, threatening to break. Though he did not know why, he realized his journey was no longer about survival. Every broken mile brought him closer to the Dark Tower, the axis of all worlds, and the secret it desperately guarded, that a man once hardened by war now lived quietly in Texas, haunted by memories of battles he could never forget. His life was ordinary, marked by long silences and restless nights, until the evening when the wind carried a voice unlike any other. On a deserted road, he saw a figure appear, cloaked and steady, its revolver gleaming like fire under the fading sun. The figure did not speak in human tones, but in a command that pierced the soldier's soul. "You are called. You are a gunslinger." Visions overwhelmed him. Dark skies, collapsing worlds, and a tower rising above all creation. His blood burned with purpose, and his hands trembled with the weight of a destiny he had not chosen. The oath of the gunslinger awakened within him, ancient and binding. He knew from that night forward, his path would no longer be his own. The journey had begun. The streets of New York overflowed with noise and light, but in the shadows, something sinister stirred. Men in immaculate black suits moved through the city unnoticed, their eyes glowing faintly crimson whenever they passed under a street lamp. Their presence was wrong, unnatural, yet the crowd remained blind. Subway walls carried graffiti that pulsed with strange energy, symbols that seemed to move if stared at too long. At midnight, a heavy silence fell upon the city, and those sensitive to the unseen felt it first, a vibration deep within their bones, like the hum of some vast, hidden machine. Dreams plagued the few who could sense it, a throne of bones, a king of fire, and a tower bleeding into their minds. The Crimson King's servants spread fear quietly, their magic leaking into the world. While the city above pulsed with life, beneath it darkness grew, preparing for conquest. Ruins of an old American fort lay crumbling on the plains, its walls shattered, its history forgotten by all but dust and silence. Yet beneath those stones, something waited, something older than the land itself. Buried in the earth was a key carved from strange metal, glowing faintly with runes that shifted when touched by light. It was said this key could open doors to places beyond comprehension, portals to other worlds, even the path to the tower itself. But power came at a cost. The air shimmered around it, bending reality, twisting time. Those who dared to lift it vanished in an instant, their voices echoing briefly before being swallowed by the void. Legends whispered that the Crimson King's followers were closing in, eager to seize the relic and tear open the fabric of existence. The key waited in silence, knowing its discovery would change everything forever. Across America, fate began weaving threads together, pulling strangers into a destiny larger than themselves. A soldier haunted by his past, a doctor searching for redemption, and a young student burdened with visions. All were drawn toward one another, as if guided by unseen hands. Each carried a fragment of prophecy, a piece of the puzzle tied to the Dark Tower. Their meeting felt less like chance and more like inevitability, for when their paths crossed, the air itself seemed to shift. Dreams plagued them at night, showing glimpses of battles yet to come and sacrifices they did not wish to face. Though they did not understand it fully, they felt bound by something greater, Ka, the force of destiny. As the storm of the Crimson King grew stronger, they realized the journey was not theirs alone. Together, they would stand or fall. The gathering storm had begun. Las Vegas shone with its dazzling lights, a city built on illusions and chance. But on this night, the illusions fell away. Shadows gathered in the streets as creatures cloaked in crimson flame stepped through unseen doors. The servants of the Crimson King descended without warning, turning casinos into battlegrounds and hotels into burning towers. Chaos spread as ordinary people fled, while the newly bound ka-tet stood firm. Guns roared against creatures of darkness, bullets clashing with magic in explosions of fire and steel. The desert sky lit up as if the stars themselves were watching the battle unfold. For the gunslinger and his companions, Las Vegas was more than a city. It was the proving ground of their strength, the test of their unity. Blood was spilled, sacrifices made, but they knew this was only the beginning. The war for the tower had officially reached American soil. The long road stretched through Arizona, broken highways lined with abandoned cars and ghost towns swallowed by silence. Dust storms rolled across the land, carrying whispers of the past, and every step forward felt heavier than the last. The chosen ones marched together, each haunted by memories and sacrifices that weighed on their hearts. Strange creatures emerged from the desert's edges, remnants of other worlds bleeding into this one, testing their courage at every turn. The nights were worse, filled with dreams of the tower, the Crimson King's voice echoing through their sleep, tempting them to abandon their path. Yet through hunger, exhaustion, and fear, they pressed on. Each mile stripped them of comfort but bound them closer together. The road was merciless, demanding payment in pain and loss, but they knew retreat was impossible. Every step carried them closer to the tower and the fate awaiting them there. The ruins where worlds converged lay silent, a place where the air itself seemed to bleed with power. The tower loomed in the distance, impossibly tall, stretching into eternity. At its base, the Crimson King waited, his throne of bones casting shadows that swallowed the light. The ka-tet stood before him, their bodies weary but their resolve unbroken. Magic clashed with steel, light against darkness, in a battle that shook the foundations of all creation. Each hero faced not only the enemy before them, but also the weight of their own fears, their sacrifices echoing with every strike. The king's laughter filled the air, a sound that bent reality itself, but the gunslinger's oath burned stronger. Fate had led them here, and destiny demanded its price. In the clash of worlds, only one truth remained. The tower would either stand, or all existence would fall into nothing.